is America's last frontier. Mount McKinley, 4 miles high, surmounts the vast terrain the Indians called the Great Land. Alaska, sleeping beauty of the North, perhaps today on the threshold of awakening. 80 years ago, we bought this northern empire from Russia, and Americans jeered, called it Seward's Folly, called it our $7 million icebox. It was twice as big as Texas and 1,000 miles from anywhere, and except for a few Indians and Eskimos, it was a land without people. Today, it's still pretty much a land without people, only 75,000 scattered through its vast expanse. But we got our money back 1,000 times over from its natural resources, and into the bargain, we got security. For this is our northern rampart. In the age of flight, said General Billy Mitchell, who holds Alaska holds the world. Well, we hold it, and it's a great land, primeval and unspoiled, where the natural inhabitants of the sea and forest have not yet fled before the advance of man. All a playground for big animals. Alaska also has its fringe of civilization, and it really starts here in Seattle, Washington, financial capital of the great land, and its gateway from the States. Here the gold rush of '98 started along the Alaskan Way. Here center the enterprises that in 80 years have exploited the territory's fishing, mining, and fur industries to the tune of some $3 billion. And here each spring, thousands start north to cut themselves a slice of Alaska's bounty. The trek north is along the famed Inland Passage, one of the Earth's most impressive scenic routes, 750 miles by boat or plane along the Canadian shore. Past log rafts, bound south, past towering, tree-clad islands, and so to Ketchikan in southeastern Alaska. Not the frozen north, but a damp and drizzly coast, and one of the world's important fishing centers. Here, a fuse of war smolders. In Ketchikan, fish means salmon, and in other years, salmon meant jacks. Their huge floating canneries drifted in with the run, bringing anger and dread. But the salmon poured in endless profusion. A $50 million crop, greater than all Alaska's other bonanzas put together. 100 canneries operate along this coast, with seasonal labor imported from California. These are Filipinos, flown in for the rush season. Incidentally, in 1946, the salmon run was a thin trickle. Had too many millions been taken? Was it the atomic bomb? Or just a poor year? Nobody knew for sure. Alaskan housewives, part of the small populace that lives year-round in the fishing communities, help out in the rush season. The salmon is cooked in the can in this big boiler. Incidentally, Alaskans can't buy a can of salmon put up in Alaska until it has first made a 1,500-mile round trip to Seattle to be labeled. This is one of the facets of absentee landlordism that Alaskans believe will be ended by statehood. An hour's flight north, another of Alaska's little cities huddled at the foot of the mountains, Juneau, its feet in the sea, its skies draped with a streamer of the clouds that close in so swiftly on the Alaskan scene. This is a metropolis of the North, the capital of the territory since 1900, where tourists can get modern hotel accommodations while rubbing shoulders with prospectors, trappers, engineers. visitor discovers a paradox of the great land. It's a land of ice and snow, but also of flowers, growing in almost unbelievable profusion to great size and splendor. Yes, it's tobacco of fine quality with an unusually high content of nicotine. And believe it or not, this is cotton, a wild variety. This is totem pole country. The totems are historical documents of the Tlingit Indians, telling stories of man's kinship with animals in this great land of many animals and few men. Another link with the past at Old Sitka. Here the Tsar's men built their capital, the most brilliant of the New World, gay with uniforms and silken gowns. Today, Sitka's cathedral and its golden treasures remain, fragments of Russia's lost dominion in the Western world. Not that Alaska needed Russian gold, it has its own. Here they dig it out of the mountain's hard heart in a ponderous operation, or they wash it with hydraulic pressure from the mud of ancient river bottoms. The land that once drew 50,000 gold seekers is still rich with it. But gold is only a part of the great land's vast mineral wealth. There are coal deposits that may exceed those of Pennsylvania. There are millions in copper and silver, platinum and lead and tin and oil. Fortunes have been taken, but vast wealth remains, guarded more carefully against private exploitation than it used to be. There is living wealth in the timberlands that cover most of Alaska. 400,000 square miles of forest, a seemingly inexhaustible supply. But lumbering today is only for Alaska's own use, for building, for mine timbers, for the wood-burning boats of the Yukon. The consumption of timber is very high, even for a frontier community. Waste and fires have taken a heavy toll. The Department of the Interior guards jealously this treasure that belongs to all the people of the United States. Alaskans agree that conservation of resources is important, but insist there are other matters equally urgent if the land is to develop. Governor Ernest Greening, Center, and other leaders would build a network of roads connecting the cities and opening up the hinterland, and would sharply cut prevailing transportation rates far out of line with those in the states. Alaska's only railroad, government-owned, is costly and inadequate. The Alaska Highway, now improved and bringing newcomers from the states, needs only connecting networks to make it significant. There remains one boon, the bush pilot, who will fly anybody, any cargo, anywhere. This is expensive, like everything else in Alaska, but it has done wonders at opening up the land. Center of every Alaskan community is the airport, where the bush plane meets the airliner. Here everybody flies, businessmen, school teachers, prospectors, and waitresses. In this land where wood choppers and bartenders get $150 a week, where coal miners are paid $38 a day, and barbers charge $1.50 for a haircut, nobody counts pennies, and Alaskans think nothing of taking off for Fairbanks or Nome, Seattle, or Chicago. Biggest of Alaska's little cities, and a crossroads to the top of the world. Planes flying the Great Circle route from Manila and Tokyo to Washington pause here. Air transport is a principal industry. It's a new stop for the globe trotter of tomorrow. In 1915, it was a railroad construction camp. In 30-odd years, it has grown to a metropolis of 11,000, a boom town on the mud flats, whose prices are almost double those prevailing in New York. Here is the principal source of Anchorage's boom, Fort Richardson, center of the far-flung military machine in Alaska and the Aleutians. Wartime brought hundreds of thousands of fighting men to this northern rampart. It became an immense armed camp, ready to checkmate an invasion that never materialized. American boys from Maine to California discovered this great land of wealth and majestic beauty while soldiering, and many have plans to return as fortune hunters or settlers. Although the ranks of the Alaskan Command have thinned since then, we watch this rampart with unceasing vigilance. Alaska's permanent military establishment is still in the process of construction. The mighty machines that carve wartime airfields out of rough terrain now are handy at building permanent installations, such as a suitable airbase for a global airline and living quarters for civilian attachés. Recreation spots also are essential to maintain the morale of civilians and troops. And in fine weather, an Alaskan lake makes an ideal spot for relaxation. But fine days are few and fleeting. Scores of government observation posts scattered over the great land take constant samplings of the atmosphere to keep airmen abreast of the caprices of Alaskan weather. This brand of ceiling zero drifts in from the Aleutians, breeding place of the Earth's storms. And Alaskans never forget that the Arctic winter is just ahead with its long nights, when the mercury drops to 40 or 50 or 70 below, and 8-foot delphiniums and bowers of roses seem far away. This is when Alaska's charm seems dubious and hardly worth the struggle. Let's fly north 1,000 miles, over the limitless tundra, where great herds of reindeer and caribou feed, over vast areas where man never has set foot, but which a plane traverses in a few hours. And so to a calm blue sea, the Arctic, that most of the year is an ice pack, a sea of death and desolation. And here, of all places, we find the #1 man of Alaskan affairs, Secretary of the Interior Julius Crew, with Governor Greening, inspecting an Eskimo guard. This is at Barrow, Eskimo village, trading post for hundreds of miles of Arctic coast. They bounce a sturdy-legged Eskimo in a reindeer hide blanket for entertainment, for the distinguished guests and a critical audience of experts. These are a simple, friendly people. 15,000 of them dwell in little communal groups along the Arctic and Bering Sea coasts, living off the walrus and seal, a civilization 5,000 years behind the times. A far cry from this is the Matanuska Valley. Remember, back in 1935, the government sent 200 destitute farm families here to get a fresh start. Now, the Matanuska community is flourishing and prosperous, the best answer to the thousands of Americans who are looking inquiringly towards the great land, asking what sort of place it is to live, what opportunities it offers. Well, this is the happy valley of the North. Today, farm sites here are at a premium. The good earth is in demand. It produces outsized cauliflower and other root and leafy vegetables, for the soil is rich and deep. 30-pound cabbages, bumper crops that bring bumper prices and anchorage 50 miles away by good roads. The valley is one part of Alaska that has good roads and complete electrification and all the conveniences and gadgets that go with prosperity, including an airplane, handy for making an occasional trip down to the trading post. After a decade under government sponsorship, the valley farmers have cooperative marketing, cooperative dairy, warehouse, and potato storage. And best of all, an eager market that can use all the valley can produce and a lot more. Millions of dollars worth of food is imported each year from the states to supply the deficit. Does this suggest a new gold rush to Alaska's farmlands is in order? Old-timers hope not. They remember the flood of greenhorns who came at the turn of the century, ignorant of the country and its perils, to starve and die on the bitter northern trails. Alaskans want their country to grow. They will welcome new neighbors, but they hope the newcomers know what they're getting into and will be made of the stuff that makes frontiersmen. There's some homestead land available for those who have the resources, physical, financial, and spiritual, to claim it and clear it. It isn't easy, and it isn't cheap. And prospective colonists are told one grim fact of life before they get too enthusiastic. Of 11,000 living Alaskans born in the territory, 7,000 have moved away and live outside. They prefer it. The fact seems to be some like it and some don't. For instance, here's a home being built by an enthusiastic couple from Baltimore, fugitives from a war plan. They were sick of the city. They wanted a house with a view. Well, they got it. Newcomers to the valley find it a modern, well-rounded farm community of eager, self-reliant people with high standards of health, good schools. Those who believe Alaska has a destiny in the world of tomorrow find here a pattern of promise. This is our northern rampart. This is America.